to the August Augusta, Georgia Land Bank Authority monthly meeting. Pray everyone and their families and loved ones are all doing well. And, we have a daily prayer out every day for all of those who have been or were previously affected by coronavirus, but we continue to trudge on through. We have a fairly short agenda, and I'm not going to say what that means. I'm just going to have a fair agenda because y'all know what happens when I say otherwise. So before I go into the actual agenda, I want to do a roll call of the voting members just to make sure everyone is here, and the also the golly, I can't call their name. Ben and Hawthorne, ex officio members. Golly, that was hard to say. Lauren Dallas.
Lauren Dallas, Executive Director of Augusta Tomorrow and Land Bank Authority Board Member.
Albino Ross.
Here.
And would you introduce
you want to know? Sorry about that.
Okay.
Board of Assessors, People Fraser.
Rob. Thank you, sir. Rob Sherman. Right there.
Yeah, okay, so planning and development and a member of the land bank.
Okay, and Karen Gordon.
Hey, Karen Gordon, Garden City Jazz, Gordon Music Group, and board member of the Land Bank. Glad to be here with you. Thank you.
Is Commissioner Hassan there? How about Director Welcher? Okay, I'm Chris Johnson. I'm Chief Deputy Tax Commissioner, Chairman of Augusta, Georgia Land Bank. Mr. Sean Edwards.
Sean Edwards, Executive Director, Land Bank Authority.
Ms. Lisa Williams.
Lisa Williams, Coordinator for the Land Bank.
Mr. John Manton.
I'm John Manton, Attorney for the Land Bank.
Mr. Charles Williams.
Charles Williams, Richard County Tax Commissioner's Office.
Ms. Ashley Neville.
Tax Commissioner's Office.
Ms. Donna Tyra. You're muted, baby.
Code Enforcement.
Mr. Terrence Widener.
I'm here for Code Enforcement.
Okay, did I miss anybody? All right. Our first item, item 2A, is the meeting minutes from July 22nd. Lisa sent those meetings out previously.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting. So,
Lisa sent those meeting minutes out previously, and hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at it. If you have not, take a few minutes to do so, and then I will entertain a motion from the floor to accept those meeting minutes.
Change the name so we don't want them seeing SK White.
So moved. Karen Gordon seconds.
Okay, so I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes on July 22nd from Ms. Lauren Dallas, and it has been seconded by Ms. Karen Gordon. All in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. Okay, and I forgot I'm gonna have to call the roll because I can't see everybody. So I apologize. Let me do that again. Lauren Dallas.
Yes.
Karen Gordon.
Yes.
Albino Ross.
Yes.
Rob Sherman.
Yes.
And Chris Johnson votes yes, that the meeting passed. Mr. Sean Edwards is going to do both items B and C. Sean, if you will take care of those two items for us.
Yes, sir. So item B is a request from Michael Mendoza and Tyson Schultz of Auburn Realty for Augusta, Georgia Land Bank assistance with acquiring parcel at 1506 Myrtle Lane. The 1810 Broad Street is going to be removed and pushed to another date, so they won't be moving forward with both. So you should just have a disposition spreadsheet for 1506 Myrtle. The staff recommend approval This parcel is tax delinquent prior to 2013. As you are all well aware, when you do a property tax search on a parcel, we can only see back 7 years. And so we don't know how many years are delinquent, but you can see that the taxes total $5,554.29. Total fees that would include the land bank attorney's fees, as well as our application and admin, and 50% of the assessed value of the lot would have come to a total of $21,074. The client is countering that. I'm sorry, what's that question? Oh, no. Okay. The client is countering that and asking the land bank to extinguish the delinquent taxes, but is willing to pay the total of the necessary fees and the 50% of the assessed value of the property. So the counter is $15,520.50.
What was the original? What was the original again, Sean?
The original is $21,074. And that included $5,554.29 of past due taxes.
And what was the counter?
$15,520.50. And that includes all our fees plus 50% of the assess. So they're essentially asking for extinguishment of the delinquent tax. If I could add a note to just support the recommendation, we've had an extensive number of conversations with Auburn Realty. They are one of the few private sector groups that are still heavily committed to trying to create less than market, although slightly higher than HUD qualified affordable rent. So not affordable according to HUD standard, 30% area median income, but do have rents for the majority of their inventory that are less than market rate. And they would be adding this property to that inventory. So their executive director / president wants to begin to build a partnership with the land bank, wants to start to acquire more properties that they would directly renovate and continue in that model, being able to provide a below market rental for individuals in our community. And we think this is a good first step.
Do I have any questions about that? Yes, Rob.
So
Yes, sir.
for that price, we're only talking about the 1506.
That is correct. 1810 is pulled out.
Okay.
1810 is a city-owned property, and we have not finished talking to city to see if the city would be interested in selling that property. So we pulled 1810 off until a later date. That's what it would only be the 1506 Myrtle. Any more questions? Do I have a motion?
Yeah. I'll make a motion to accept the counter offer.
Okay, I have a motion to accept the counter offer of $15,520.50. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion has been made by Rob Sherman and properly seconded by Lauren Dallas to accept the offer from Auburn Realty for the property at 1506 Myrtle Lane for the amount of $15,520.50. Albino Ross? You muted, sir. Albino? You muted.
Yes.
Lauren Dallas?
Yes.
Rob Sherman?
Yes.
Karen Gordon?
Yes.
Yes for Chris Johnson. That item passes. Item C.
Item C is the approval request for Marita Pool, and I'm gonna kill this first name, Gerdix Massey. Adjacent property owners for assistance with foreclosure of parcel at 1217 Kent Street to add to their existing property. If you notice in your disposition worksheet, the total amount that would have been collected on this property, including attorney's fees, application, admin, delinquent taxes, which does date prior to 2013 again, as well as an existing demolition lien, would have been a total of $17,148.04. You'll see in your disposition sheet that the client is making a significantly reduced counter, requesting approval for simply the attorney's fees, land bank fees, and the 30% of the assessed value, which aligns with our policy As an adjacent property owner, we would charge 30%, not 50% of the assessed value of the parcel. So they are asking for extinguishment of taxes and recommendation for the removal of a demolition lien against the parcel. We're recommending this for approval for the board for 2 reasons only, because as you can see, it's a significant reduction in the amount of revenue we will receive. But this is a couple that moved from Atlanta to Augusta. Married couple, husband works as a researcher here. Wife is also in Richmond County, working as an employee. They've purchased a property. They want to expand the amount of land that they have. It's their primary residence. They've moved into an area, as you can see from the zip code, that would not typically drive individuals that are transients and transplants to our community. But they've made a sizable investment, and they will and do understand that they have the requirement that this lot will have to be combined with the one that they own. Based on the tax delinquency, based upon the fact that there is a lien against the parcel for demolition that is greater than its value, and that we have somebody that's already made a sizable investment as their primary residence and not a developer doing investment property. That's the reasons that this staff is recommending approval.
What is that counter offer?
$3,855 when it would have been $17,148.04.
Which is the lien, which is the liens and delinquent taxes.
Yes, sir. Liens and delinquent taxes.
Okay. Do I have comments? Comments, questions? If there are no comments or questions, do I have a motion?
So they're going to buy this and consolidate it with their house property?
Yes,
That's
sir. They are only adjacent and will be combined in this one once foreclosed, of course, to the existing property.
Would you say the numbers one more time?
Yes, sir. So what was requested, total of attorney's fees, application, admin, that's our $3,105. Demolition lien held against the property, $6,646.52. Past due taxes, $4,563.03. Plus what would have been 30% of the assessed value. Assessed value of the lot is $2,500, so $750. Would have been a total of $17,148.04. They are countering that with $3,855, which is only the total of attorneys, land bank fees, and the 30% of the assessed, the $750.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if this is not a clear example of valuation upside down, well, we'll see it. I move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll
Rob, was
second.
that? Okay, so I have an approval. I have a motion to approve from Albino Ross, seconded by Rob Sherman, to sell the property at 1217 Kent Street for $3,855, pending the ability to have the lien extinguished, with a request to have the lien extinguished. Alvino?
Yes.
Lauren?
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
And it's a yes from me. That motion approves. Mr. John Manton, Attorney John Manton, if you will give us our list of donations and foreclosures, please.
Sure. So I sent out an email to the board earlier today with all the foreclosures going, as well as the donations. Start donations first. We had 4 from the last agenda that we're working through right now to get completed. Hopefully, once we get one of those done, we'll be able to turn around and sell it, the Wheeless Road. So nothing exciting in donations. As far as foreclosures, we have, if you go down to starting at 35, That's the group of foreclosures that Land Bank requested. It's taken a little bit of time to get those filed with COVID and the courts and getting a judge's assignment on those, but we should have those rolling soon, and we'll consolidate all those to one hearing date and hopefully have them all sold before the end of the year at a tax sale.
Okay. Anybody have?
So we've got about 6 that we're in the process of just finishing up with the redemption period. So we'll be able to sell those here quickly to earn some income for the land bank.
Fantastic.
You'll notice there's of the ones, including the ones that John is currently working on, First and Second Avenue, the properties from item 35 to 46. Here it is August, and we've got 46 properties that we've either have completed in process or we're working on currently. Rob can tell you that we've gone 5 or 6 years didn't have 40 properties. That just shows the productivity that we have here on the land bank, and that's just this year.
Not to mention the turn back the block properties.
Say it again.
Not to mention the turn back the block properties.
That's exactly it. Matter of fact, there's some other things that are working that are not even on this list. So it just gives you an idea of the amount of work that has been going on that you, ladies and gentlemen, have been completing this year. Much of this represents properties that were previously blighted and are being put back in back on the tax roll in a livable status, and several of the ones that are currently outstanding are those that we are working with developers to get to that. So I know there's a lot of talk that goes on out there, but I just want to remind you what the facts are. These are the facts. And so that's what we do. Our role, our mission is to take blighted, underutilized, tax delinquent properties and get them back on the tax roll. What the law says is to get them back into a revenue generating status. And that's what we do. That's what our job is. And that's what we have been doing. And as long as we're allowed, that's what we will continue to do. Now, I said that intentionally because I would like Mr. Edwards to give you an update on an agenda that I've told you about that's been on the commission agenda. It's been an item on the commission agenda for some time. There's some update on that, and I'd like for Mr. Edwards to update the board on that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as you're well aware, since June 24th, we've been expecting to have the opportunity in order to speak to the commission regarding an agenda item that spoke to the abolishment of the Land Bank Authority. Each meeting has presented a series of concerns as it pertains to blight in Augusta, Richmond County, and in some ways touching areas of land banks, property inventory, and maintenance of some of those lots, parcels, houses. Some of those things you have already addressed, and there would have been opportunity to speak to those because your policies talk about depository agreements and responsibility of city departments, as well as private investors, be them nonprofit or private, that they have the responsibility of maintaining their lots. But not having the opportunity to present that, the flow of those meetings inevitably landed to yesterday's motion, which includes now having a mandatory meeting put together to include no less than Commissioner Marion Williams and Commissioner Ben Hassan. However, Commissioner Brandon Garrett did reiterate the fact that each commissioner should be a part of these discussions. They will also include city departments, code enforcement, housing and community development, engineering department, utilities department. They will include the Land Bank Authority as well as the Marshal's Office. And it is specifically for a discussion involving vacant lots, code enforcement when it comes to private property, illegal dumping, litter control, right-of-ways, and an overall assessment of blight in the community. Everybody on the call has either touched or been informed of series of meetings. And I started doing research in preparation of the request coming out of the administrator's office for information on processes. Started doing that last night, and we have all been heavily involved in an effort going back to 2017, headed up by Environmental Services back then, Director Lori Vedetto, who presented to the commission. 2018 follow-up presented at that time by City Administrator Janice Jackson, now to present day, and includes information gathered for Blight Stat headed by the Mayor's Office, and now most recently CMed. We've been talking about blight in this community for quite some time and have arrived at pretty much the same hurdles. The authorization of the Marshal's Office, the ability to move enforcement quickly through code enforcement. How do you handle private property owners that do not reside in Richmond County? And then, of course, inevitably for almost every department, what do you do for funding, resources, staff, capacity? We're going to end up addressing a lot of that same stuff again when this meeting is called, and I'm sure some, when they deliver to Jarvis his requested information on flowchart, will point those things out, that it's not been a lack of effort, it's not been a lack of experience, and it's not been a lack of knowledge. It has either been you are handicapped by the policy that puts a stop point on what you can legitimately do by law, or you don't have the resources in order to be able to move to the next level, even if you have the authorization. What we hope comes out of this, I would think, is twofold. And upon your approvals, of course, and you'll be deeply involved in everything that I'm gonna present at any point in time. One will be to show that the land bank's role in the elimination of blight is the ability to act as a lead entity, but that blight is not our first priority. As just stated by the chairman, our job is to deal with tax delinquency. And so a blighted structure that's current on taxes is not something that we have the ability in order to interject ourselves on unless we find private partnership that wants to move forward with acquiring that property and utilizing us as a storehouse. Secondly, coming out of that, I would hope would be the discussion of how we set realistic goals and put funding behind those goals so that we can accomplish the elimination or at least reduction in blight in the county. It is a poor reflection on Augusta Richmond County when you drive from one block that may have development happening to another that still is underdeveloped, and we see a tremendous amount of that in our urban core. But we have to be very honest that there has consistently been presentation by different departments of what's necessary, and there has not been a final motion that has put the resources and tools in any entity's hands in order to be able to accomplish what was laid out. So that's the update as to where we stand. I will make sure that we get to you prior to Friday, which is our deadline to have this information to Jarvis, what we believe our flow chart is and our responsibility / way in which we touch blight in the community. For your leisure read, and then we'll keep you abreast of any meetings once those are scheduled.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. And let me just reiterate that all of you, including our brothers and sisters over in planning and development, along which includes code enforcement, y'all are doing a good job at the tasks that have been set before us. And so if nobody else says it, I'm going to say it, and they can just be mad at me, but we're going to do our job. We're going to continue to do our job. And then certainly we're going to respond because the commission does have a duty to look at blight elimination in this community. And we're just going to let them know what we're doing and what we can do, and find out what they need for us to do on the team to get even more blight removed from our city. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for what you're doing and the plans that you have in the future. And thank you for that update, Mr. Edwards. Do we have anything else? Anybody else have a comment, question?
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir. Mr. Welcher.
Yeah, so I want to, I don't know if I provided this document to Mr. Chairman or you and to Director Edwards. I told you that I would, but I just want to be sure that, whenever we have a meeting, we've already gone on the record and I put it in writing that, the first thing, I don't want the land bank to take the rap for something that is not necessarily at the end of the day, your responsibility. So, we all know that with approximately 300 properties in the land bank, we know that 213 of those are HCD's responsibility. And I've put this in writing. what I've also shared. So, it definitely can be skewed when you look at 300 properties, but at the end of the day, so I just want to let you know that, I've put that in writing. Mr. Chairman, like I told you I did, I've provided that to Commissioner Sayers. I've provided that to the administrator, letting them know that other 300 properties, 213 are ACDs. So regardless of how they look right now, that's our responsibility. Just for the record, to let everybody know, typically, we do take responsibility for the cutting and landscaping of the grass and the shrubbery every 2 weeks for all these properties. We also make an assessment to sort of demolish and working with the land bank as well as code enforcement to make a determination to demolish and clear properties when they're too far gone. We also maintain insurance, and we also look to try to restore from some aspects. Now, what you will see since COVID started, the procured landscaping company, T&T Lawn Care, because of COVID, it was a 3-man operation. Because of that, they've sort of dismantled. So since about March or April, all of our properties, which I think the land bank may be getting hit on sometimes, a lot of those properties just have not been cut because they've been dismantled. So we've worked with procurement to do an emergency type cut. Needless to say, to make a long story short, on the 24th, I believe next Monday, we will have a bid to have 2 or 3 different lawn service companies back on track. So those 213 properties will go back to being accustomed to be manicured and cut every 2 weeks. So I just want to put that out there on the record to the board, as I've done to the commission. I'm being very transparent. I do not want the land bank to take a hit for 300 properties when you're only talking about 87 of those really being yours and 213 being mine. So that's just from a partnership perspective. I'll continue to be transparent with that. And, so I just wanted to put that, let the board know that, ACD is not hiding behind anything. We know that 213s are our responsibility. And, we intend, to maintain, that good relationship.
We appreciate that, Director Welcher, and, it's a team effort. And, but we appreciate you updating the board and also updating the commission on that. And we'll just continue to work together as we always have. Anybody else? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and y'all enjoy the rest of your week. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, have a good day.